Hi, thanks for joining me on Tech with RKM. Today is episode 4 of Claude Code Decoded. Last time we opened the agentic message loop. Today we go one layer deeper and crack open the tool registry itself. We'll look at what the 11 built-in tools actually are, how the permission system gates them, and the patterns that emerge when you read the source. By the end, you'll know exactly which tool Claude reaches for, when, why some tools never need approval, and the underappreciated tools most users never see. Okay, let's dive in. The tool registry is the catalog. When the agentic loop wants to do something, it picks from a list. That list is built once at startup, frozen for the session, and contains every action Claude Code can possibly take. There are roughly 11 built-in tools, plus whatever MCP servers and plugins contribute on top. Most users know 3 of them: read, edit, bash. That's about all you ever see in YouTube tutorials. But there are at least 8 more, and some of them are the most important for serious work. 3 things to anchor on. 1, every tool has the same shape under the hood. A name, a JSON schema for input parameters, a permission level, an execution function, an error contract. If you wrote a custom tool tomorrow, it would match this shape. The model only knows the name and the schema. Everything else is internal. 2, tools are classified into 3 permission tiers: read-only, side-effecting, and dangerous. Read tools run silently. Side-effecting tools may or may not need approval depending on your permission mode. Dangerous tools like bash are always gated by default. 3, the registry is built once at startup and not modified during the loop. That's important because it means tool discovery happens before your first message. If you install a plugin mid-session, you have to restart Claude Code for it to see the new tools. Let me walk you through the 11 core built-ins. Read, this is the file reader, accepts a path, optionally an offset and limit. Returns text content, line numbered. Permission tier read only, runs silently every time the model wants to look at a file. Edit, this is the surgical file editor, accepts a path, an old string, a new string, and an optional replace all flag. Permission tier, side effecting. In default mode, asks for approval. In accept edits mode, runs immediately bash. This is the most powerful and most dangerous tool. Accepts a shell command, runs it in a persistent shell, returns stdout, stder, and exit code. Permission tier dangerous, always gated by default unless you're in bypass permissions mode. Most production agents lock bash down aggressively. Grep, this is a rip grep wrapper, accepts a rejects pattern and optional file glob, returns matching lines with context. Permission tier read only, used heavily during exploration. Glob, this is the file pattern matcher, accepts a glob pattern, returns matching paths. Permission tier read only, used before read to discover what files exist. Write, this is the file creator / overwriter, accepts a path and contents. Permission tier side effecting. In default mode, you'll see the diff before it lands. In accept edits, it just writes. Task, this is the sub-agent spawner. Accepts a description, a prompt, and an agent type. Runs a separate Claude session focused on the prompt. Returns the sub-agent's final response. Permission tier, side effecting, useful for parallel exploration that doesn't pollute your main context. So in the next few minutes, I'll cover the 4 less famous tools, the patterns that emerge across all 11, and the gotchas that bite when you're operating at scale. Okay, continuing with the 4 built-ins that get less airtime. WebFetch, this is the URL fetcher, accepts a URL and an optional prompt for content extraction, returns the page content, optionally summarize, permission tier read only. The interesting thing is the optional prompt parameter. You can ask Claude to extract specific information from a page rather than dumping the whole HTML. Useful for cutting tokens when you only need a small slice of a long page. WebSearch, this is the search wrapper. Accepts a query, returns search results, permission tier read only. Routed through Anthropic's grounding infrastructure, not your browser. So it's safe to use without exposing your IP or browser state. TodoWrite, this is the planning tool, accepts a list of Todo items, updates Claude's working task list. Permission tier metadata only, used heavily during multi-step tasks to track progress and show you what's planned. The model uses this to think out loud about what it's about to do. NotebookEdit, this is the Jupyter editor, accepts a notebook path, a cell number, and new cell contents. Permission tier side effecting. Only relevant if you work with notebooks, but if you do, this is the only safe way to modify them because manual editing breaks notebook structure. Now, the patterns that emerge across all 11. Pattern 1, the permission tier dictates user experience. Read-only tools run silently. You don't even see them in the output unless you explicitly ask. Side-effecting tools either ask or are auto-approved depending on mode. Dangerous tools always show their command and wait for you. So when you look at your terminal during a Claude session and see lots of activity but no permission prompts, that's because the agent is doing reads and greps. The interactive moments are when bash or edit fires. Pattern 2, schemas are tight on purpose. Every tool's input schema rejects anything the model invents. If the model tries to call edit with a missing old string field, the dispatcher fails the call before it runs and feeds the error back. This is why hallucinated tool calls are rare in practice. The schema is the safety belt. Pattern 3, parallel dispatch makes some tools way more useful than others. Read, grep, glob, WebFetch, all read only, all safe to fire in parallel. The loop fans them out. The result is if you ask Claude to summarize a code base, it can read 50 files concurrently. That's why Claude Code feels fast on exploration. Edit and bash are serial by design because they have side effects you wouldn't want overlapping. Now, 3 gotchas worth knowing. First, the bash tool's persistent shell. The shell stays alive across calls. So if you set an environment variable in one bash call, the next call sees it. That's mostly helpful, but it can also bite. If a previous command left an unusual CWD or shell mode, the next one inherits it. If something seems weird, start a new session. Second, the read tool defaults to 2000 lines. If you read a huge file without specifying a limit, you'll get truncated content silently. Always pass limit and offset for large files. Third, the task tool spawns a fresh subagent context. The subagent does not see your conversation history. It only sees the prompt you pass. So if you wanted to act on context, include that context in the prompt explicitly. A few less famous tools that exist in the code base but aren't always exposed. Skill, the skill invoker. Skills are prepackaged capability bundles that ship with Claude or come from plugins. ExitPlanMode, only relevant in plan mode, lets the model formally end planning and start executing. There are a handful more that show up depending on your configuration. Run/help in your session to see your exact list, which we covered in the /help episode. Quick recap. The tool registry has 11 core built-ins classified by permission tier, read-only, side-effecting, dangerous. The schema is the safety belt. Parallel dispatch makes read-only tools feel fast. Bash has a persistent shell, read defaults to 2000 lines. Task spawns a context isolated subagent /help shows your full list. Tomorrow we go deeper into one specific tool, the edit tool, the surgical file editor that lives at the heart of every code change Claude makes, how it works, why it uses old string and new string instead of patches, and the subtle behaviors that determine whether your edits land cleanly. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment with which tool you most want me to deep dive next. See you tomorrow.